Always makes me happy. There we go. That sounds a little more full. Okay. Wonderful. I think Sally, didn't the children's home just come? And so the children's home has just come, but we could go ahead and get a good start on the next quarter. In your bulletin here, this yellow box list items they're looking for the next go-around. Rubber gloves, and I have to give Sally credit where credit is due. Sally's already got the rubber glove situation started in the blue box right there. We got cereal, always a popular item, juice, foil, bathroom cleaner, and color-safe bleach. So if you could keep that in mind when you're at the store over the next few weeks or month, it's a really great work, and I just really appreciate it. It's just such a good work, and Sally and I were at the Amelia's little carnival yesterday, just seeing these little kids. Just the innocence of little kids is just astounding to me, and it just you have a work like this children's home. It just sometimes you think about it, it could just be overwhelming. So I just hope we can give them all the support that we can. Yes, Marcia. Mm-hmm. That's a great idea. I do that with a lot of things, so I think that's a great idea. Everybody, if you got your phone in, you can take a picture of it now, and that way when you're at Walmart or Patrick's Place, Kroger, you could have it right there handy in the digital age, so we could take advantage of that. You call yourself an idea man, don't you? Well, I have to say, usually I don't give you credit, but that is a very good idea. So if you just keep Marcia's phone number handy, we should be we should be good to go. Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you very much, Sandra. You do a great job with it, and you do a great job. Sandra's always here waiting on the children's home people to show up. So she does a great job, too, and she's very diligent about that. And so much appreciation there as well. And so the next item I want to mention before we start class, one more item. Sally, yesterday, Sally had a lot of ideas too, and this was a great one about arranging a basket of sorts for the butlers upon their arrival to show some hospitality. Hospitality is always in style, so Sally wrote me out a list here. Said if you'd like to help with some items, we could have them on Sandra's desk. Looking for maybe by Thursday, the 26th, so you could, do something today or Wednesday. Yeah, it's this Thursday. Yeah, because they're coming. Is it this Sunday? Okay, yeah. So maybe by Thursday, if we could have them here, Wednesday for Bible class would be convenient. Sally's got some suggested items. Candies always sound good. We got pens, notepads, teas, hot chocolate, or just any small item that might go into a basket. Sally's going to get the basket, so we'll have the basket taken care of. And Sally got some what we always go to, kind of our go-to thing. We got some bath soaps yesterday, so that's what we got. So pretty excited to put that together and have some hospitality waiting on the butlers when they get here. So anyway, before we begin class, we'll have a word of prayer. Even though Greg's doing the sermon, I'm going to ask Greg to lead our prayer also.
Our loving Heavenly Father, we're thankful for today and the blessings of another Sunday and time for us to be together and worship you. We pray as we use this Bible class time, we learn things pray for all those that are in difficult circumstances in life as well as in health issues. We pray for your comfort and assistance for the doctors and nurses and caregivers for them. We pray that our worship today will honor you. In Christ's name we pray.
Amen. Yeah, I'm sorry. I should have asked if. Mhm. Flooding. I saw that last night for the first time. Destroyed. I saw this one video last night of this water running. It was incredible. And just is Wes's house in the midst of that? Yeah. Glad you mentioned that, and we definitely need to keep them in our prayers, and hope there won't be, much more extensive damage, and hopefully that dam will stay intact. Dewey asked me about teaching here Wednesday night. So have had no lesson really idea, and I was also doing something the next 2 nights and all day Saturday. So I knew that I was going to be looking at this lesson, trying to figure out a lesson on last night. And so I just got 2 ideas very late yesterday afternoon and last night. And so that's what we're going to look at. One idea came from, this is what I was going to do the whole lesson on originally until I decided to morph it into 2 lessons. And I don't even know how much of this we'll get to, because I want to focus on the other. But Sally and I just recently, we live right next to the Jewish Community Center, and we started kind of an exercise kick, and so we're starting to try to go over there to exercise because it's right by us, and we get this little mailing thing. And I saw they were sending this for the month of Nisan, and that just I always like to show Sally how smart I am, and I was saying, Nisan's the month, the Passover, and that's when Jesus was crucified. So I saw that and it caught my eye, and I thought, well, I could go. I like looking at Exodus in the high school class. Josh and I have looked at that probably 3 different times, but I thought I would get together a list, which I did. I like to look at analogies from Exodus and the New Testament, analogies of Moses and Jesus and the Passover and Jesus. So I thought I would put together that list, which I do have that, and we'll go over it. But then I was thinking of something else with the Butler's pending arrival. It does kind of feel like we're going to enter a new era, so to speak. I don't mean to speak too broadly, but we've got kind of a new start coming up with a new preacher. And we've looked at this book quite a lot also, but it's my favorite book. And I just wanted to look at the book of Nehemiah a little bit and try to look at these lessons in Nehemiah chapter 4 specifically. We'll just go straight to chapter 4 and look at some of these lessons in this chapter and see, how Nehemiah managed what he was doing here, and see if we can get some lessons here as we enter a new era, so to speak, and hopefully kick it off with a great bit of enthusiasm and a lot of willingness to put in the work necessary to bring souls to Jesus and grow the church. I was thinking about this too. When I was thinking about this, I was reading this chapter, Nehemiah chapter 4 last night. I was thinking about this book I've seen ever since I've started coming here in maybe 2007. My Aunt Marie had put together this scrapbook. It's been sitting out there the whole time about it's got a lot of historical pictures of when the Cordova congregation first started. You've got this newspaper article says, "New work to begin in the Cordova community, the Cordova Church of Christ." So that's December 18th, 1977. So we're heading up to a 50-year anniversary next year of this congregation. And some of these pictures, you look at some of these pictures, they're kind of falling away now, a lot of them. I really need to take this book home and kind of redo it. I look at this and I think about my aunt. It really, it's a lot to think about. My Aunt Marie was really, truly a wonderful lady. And my Uncle James, he was a good guy too. He passed away in 1984, so I doubt any of y'all ever met him. But he was a real cut up, so to speak. But of course, Jesus is depending on us to keep this congregation going. But you think about the history of all these people and all they did to start this work in this community, and a lot of them have gone on. Excuse me, I'm about to cough. I've got to hit the cough button real quick. I was at Amelia's carnival yesterday, so somewhat allergenic. But anyway, a lot of them have gone on, but a whole lot of people have put in a lot of work to bring this congregation along through the years. And I just hope that we will think about that, among other things, but just as we try to renew our vigor, so to speak, and keep this congregation moving in the right direction. First and foremost, preaching the word as truly straight from the Bible, and also being about the work and not just filling pews, but being about the business of that we're supposed to be involved in. All right, Nehemiah chapter 4. I'm going to read some of this, and then we'll have some points. But it came to pass when Sanballat heard, and everybody knows the precursor to this. Nehemiah has returned to Jerusalem. He heard the wall had been destroyed, and he's come back to Jerusalem because he wanted to rebuild the wall. We got Ezra focusing on, I guess you might say, the preaching, and Nehemiah he's focused on rebuilding this wall of Jerusalem. But it came to pass that when Sanballat heard that we builded the wall, he was wroth and took great indignation and mocked the Jews. And he spake before his brethren and the army of Samaria and said, "What are these feeble Jews? Will they fortify themselves? Will they sacrifice? Will they make an end in a day? Will they revive the stones out of the heaps of the rubbish which are burned?" Now Tobiah the Ammonite was by him, and he said, "Even that which they build, if a fox go up, he shall even break down their stone wall." So you got Sanballat, and then you got Tobiah. They're in the business here of discouraging Nehemiah and saying it's a ridiculous proposition, they can't do it. So they're trying to discourage Nehemiah right off the bat. Verse 4, "Hear, O our God, for we are despised, and turn their reproach upon their own head, and give them for a prey in the land of captivity. And cover not their iniquity, and let not their sin be blotted out from before thee. For they have provoked thee to anger, and before the builders. So built we the wall, and all the wall was joined together under the half thereof, for the people had a mind to work." That's obviously a very powerful verse. We talk about it all the time. And I'm talking to the people here that come to Bible class. You all are the ones that I know have a mind to work. Let's just keep going here. Verse 7. But it came to pass that when Sanballat and Tobiah and the Arabians and the Ammonites and the Ashdodites heard that the walls of Jerusalem were made up and that the breaches began to be stopped, then they were very wroth. They were wroth before, but now that the wall is starting to be builded, very wroth. So they're very angry that this is happening. They don't want it to happen. They tried to discourage the Jews, and now they may even take further steps. Verse 8, and conspired all of them together to come and to fight against Jerusalem and to hinder it. Verse 9, nevertheless, we made our prayer unto our God, and set a watch against them day and night because of them. So we see the first thing that Nehemiah has put into action here is they've gone to God in prayer. So we've got what you might say a new beginning starting with our new preacher, just a new time, so to speak, where hopefully we can reach out in the community, reach people, help bring people to Jesus. So our first thought should always be to go to God in prayer and ask Him to help us in this endeavor. So I hope that we will be doing that continually in the coming weeks. Verse 10, and Judah said, the strength of the bearers of burdens is decayed, and there is much rubbish, so that we are not able to build the wall. And our adversaries said, they shall not know, neither see, till we come in the midst among them, and slay them, and cause the work to cease. And it came to pass that when the Jews which dealt by them came, they said unto us 10 times, from all places whence ye shall return unto us, they will be upon you. Okay, verse 13. Therefore set I in the lower places behind the wall, and on the higher places I even set the people after their families with their swords, their spears, and their bows. And I looked and rose up and said unto the nobles and to the rulers and to the rest of the people, be not ye afraid of them. Remember the Lord, which is great and terrible, and fight for your brethren, your sons and your daughters, your wives, and your houses. So one thing to think about in verse 13 here, they're approaching this work. First they're building the wall, and now they're getting a defense organized. But Nehemiah is setting this up in an organized fashion. So truly, if we're going to grow this church, reach the community, reach people, be successful, we're going to have to follow this pattern and do it in an organized way. I think there's a lot of works that we're entered in, and hopefully a lot more to come, especially a lot more works involving community outreach. And I'm hoping and praying especially that we can do this in a way that will be successful, and we're going to need everybody's effort to not talk the talk, but to walk the walk here of working. And I say that to me first, because I don't know what's happened between 1995 and 2026, or 1996 and 2026, but there is something different in a way that there is no time for anything. You start talking about having time to read your Bible and having time to do work of the church, and it seems lacking. And I say that to me especially. It's embarrassing almost when I sit and think about my activities for 1 week's time. If I laid that out for everybody here, I would be embarrassed because of the amount of time that I study, the amount of time I truly sit and thoughtfully put into, works of the church. And I think that we need to take thought of that because we're going to have to give account for that. And also doing so positively. We cannot control, we can encourage, we can do a lot of things, but we can't control what somebody else over here does or somebody else over here does. We need to look in the mirror and see what we can do and be a leader and not, looking for somebody else to do this, somebody else to do that while we fill the pews. We could. And that's what, when I was mentioning about the carnival yesterday, Sally, that's what I was thinking about. I'm looking at all these kids, and I'm looking at all these kids. If y'all had seen this, y'all would think, I know some of these kids that can be rowdy sometimes, but if y'all had seen these kids yesterday, it would have just really got you. But you see these kids, and you think that Satan wants to snatch every one of them down to hell. And I think of our Vacation Bible School last year, and I get a little discouraged thinking about sometimes what the end result seems like, which we don't even know the end result for something like that could not take place for 30 years because there may have been a seed planted that might not, the results might not show for decades. But I think of this Vacation Bible School coming up, and I was thinking again yesterday, how many of these kids right here have we really tried to reach last year or the year before through their parents? And how much effort could we put in this year with their parents to say, hey, why don't you, bring your little kid over here on this Saturday and let's, spend Vacation Bible School with Amelia. And I have to admit, I need some courage for that. Sometimes just something like that for me is difficult, and I don't know why. I may be a natural introverted type person. Like Philip and I truly are opposites. He will talk to the wall, and I will need to get to know somebody for 2 or 3 years before I tell him good morning. But I move way too slow when it comes to stuff like that. And I truly want to have a renewed vigor and try to make our Vacation Bible School truly be what it's about and have some kids in here and plant some seeds with them and their parents, and I'm hoping maybe we can have some success with some prayer of getting some of Amelia's friends to visit with us on that day. Janelle, are you? Mm-hmm. Exactly. And the devil, I think about door knocking, and the devil tells me, you just don't knock on people's doors anymore. It's a different time. That's from long ago before technology. And I always try to come up with an excuse not to try to share the gospel when that is truly just, like you say, something straight from Satan, wanting to hinder you and wanting to hinder people from hearing the message. Ken?
In our bulletin this morning, perfect example, cover story about the salesman that came and was invited to a gospel meeting. He wasn't planning on even going there. And the guy said, come have supper with me. And he's got to go to a gospel meeting.
Mm-mm.
cannot tell you how many times we have canvassed this subdivision across the street,
Right.
and you get discouraged. You think, how all these years we've knocked on doors, we've begged, and they fly on and on and on. And the food drives, how many years we've had it, we don't see any results.
Mm-hmm.
To me, that is our little overnight mind.
Wanting results right now.
Because our schedule is not the Lord's schedule. It may be years and years and years before somebody, hey, I remember they did these folks, and I want to be a part of it. We don't know.
That works in a positive and negative way. I think about that with my family. I think about that with Amelia. The way that, sorry about that, the way that I behave or act with Amelia on a certain day might trigger things good or bad in generations to come, because I could, change the way she is. The way you look at children of people with alcoholics or substance abuse. And I say that mostly talking about me and Philip. And I think of how it could affect generations to come, And so good things too. We plant a seed, it could show up decades from now. Greg?
So I take this, I tell myself this position. We're to plant the seed, and God gives an increase. We're also to cultivate the soil. So I know that I'm still training.
Right.
And we're training one another, and we're also training the next generation that comes behind us. And I like to think that because we included our two kids in everything that the church was doing,
Mm-hmm.
now they have grown up and they're involved in the churches that they go to.
Right.
And I'm hoping that that also translates into their.
In the future generations.
So our motivation should not be, well, we didn't get any results, so let's not do it. Our motivation should be, this is storing up treasures in heaven.
No doubt about it.
Carrying out the will of God. This is training ourselves on how to think and act. And we are making a difference in our families and our people we have influence with.
Mm-hmm.
And those are worthwhile to do.
I totally agree. And we are right here, and we're at this Cordova congregation, and there is a work to do here. There is a purpose for us, and we need to try to pray about it, and we need to try to fulfill this purpose. Janelle?
Also, we have to make sure that when we're going out, even just in our regular daily thing, we don't look at people and pass judgment. And we say, oh, we're not judging just you, or you may see a bum on the street, and there could be, I don't know if anybody ever watched this movie, it was, this show about head of companies, I can't think of the name of it.
Undercover CEO or something along those lines. I've watched that.
Mm-hmm. Come in looking shabby, some of them, they think they somebody, and then somebody starts telling the story of a gossip in the past or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody who's been overlooked for years and they put their life into and what hard times they've had with their family. And it ends up at the end, that person got rewarded for something. That's not what we're about. We're about our reward is going to be when we get to heaven. That's what our reward is going to be. It's not to look down at anybody. But you can look at me and think I'm a millionaire. But guess what? I don't have the time. I may dress like a millionaire. I may look and people say, oh, they got this. You don't know. You can't do that. You can't look at somebody on the street and think everybody. So what? If they're drunk, you don't know what they got them with. So we still can say, common thing is hello. Now, I don't see people doing that, and people don't speaking. Walk down the street and they buy somebody the morning.
Very good point. Very good points. And we also shouldn't assume. I might have a friend that I think this person's good soil, and then I have another friend. I'm not going to say anything to him because he drinks. But you'd be surprised the person that you think might not be responsive. That might be the very person that needs you and would be ready to listen. Philip?
We'll read a few verses from John chapter 6.
Yep.
I think we all always kind of go back to that.
John chapter 6. What verse you starting in?
Verse 59.
Okay.
These things said he in the synagogue as he taught in Capernaum. Many therefore of his disciples, when they heard this, said, This is a Torah saying. Who can hear it? Jesus knew in himself that his disciples murmured at it. He said unto them, Does this offend you? What if you shall see the Son of Man ascend up where he was before? It is the Spirit that quickeneth, the flesh profiteth nothing. The words that I speak unto you, they are spirit and they are life. There are some of you that believe not. Jesus knew from the beginning who they were that believed not, who should betray him. He said therefore, said I unto you that no man can come unto me except it were given unto him by my Father. This is the key verse. At that time, many of his disciples went back and walked no more with him. Even Jesus himself experienced discouragement.
Yep.
Disappointment with the way the people responded to his teaching. This is the very person that fed them, that provided food for them, that and they followed him around. Once he said a few things that they felt like were too hard to deal with, they turned and walked. I think about this.
Same thing happened to Moses, by the way. That was one of my analogies. But anyway.
These people were right there with the Savior, and these people have been dead 2,000 years.
Mm-hmm.
Can you imagine during that time what their thoughts had been? They had it right in their hand, and they left. But the thing is, there are many discouragements that Sally brought up. There are many discouragements, okay, that can come our way. But our thing is not to evaluate based on numbers. If we look around and say we have X today, if we have X minus 10 next year, does that mean we're failing? It does not mean we're failing if we're doing the work that we're supposed to do. Sometimes the numbers just
Exactly.
God gives the increase.
God gives the increase.
We go out and plant seed, and you know what? As long as we keep doing what we're supposed to be doing, God will give the increase.
Mm-hmm. And with all of our works coming up, I hope that we will pray about it and then do our best to put it into action and do our very best. And then, like what Philip mentioned, after that, God gives the increase. Going back to Nehemiah chapter 4, in verse, let's see what verse, I think we're at 15. Nehemiah chapter 4, verse 15 says, And it came to pass when our enemies heard that it was known unto us, and God had brought their counsel to naught, that we returned all of us to the wall, every one unto his work. And it came to pass from that time forth that half my servants wrought in the work, and the other half of them held both spears, the shields, the bows, the habergeons, and the rulers were behind all the house of Judah. They which builded on the wall, and they that bear burdens with those that laded, every one with one of his hands wrought in the work, and with the other hand held a weapon. For the builders, every one had his sword girded by his side, and so builded. And he that sounded the trumpet was by me. Let me read 19 and 20 also. And I said unto the nobles and to the rulers and to the rest of the people, the work is great and large, and we are separated upon the wall, one from another. In what place, therefore, ye hear the sound of the trumpet, resort ye thither unto us. Our God shall fight for us. That last part is obviously very encouraging and something to remember. What I wanted to mention in this this other part was related to Nehemiah's leadership here. You see that he didn't ask the people to do something that he wasn't willing to do, and that's what leadership is really about. And leaders are not, they don't have to be all of a certain personality. They don't have to have all these particular traits. Leaders can be quiet and understated. And that's kind of the way that I see Nehemiah to some measure. But when it came time to do something, he was right there pitching in to do it. And I was going to just mention one, I love to read the histories, and one American that gets always got a lot of press was General MacArthur. And he gets a lot of statues and remembered a lot. He was in World War II, and he was the commander of the U.S. forces in Korea when the war started. The war started in June of 50 and lasted till 53, but he was in charge. Truman fired him in April of 51. So he was in charge for a little less than a year. And my dad could not stand General MacArthur. My dad was a Korean War veteran, could not stand him. Never liked him at all. He thought he was blusterous. But if you read about General MacArthur, who the whole time that he was in command of the United States forces in Korea, who everything went well in the summertime, but by the time it got to be winter, they weren't clothed properly. It was freezing. They ran out of a lot of things they needed. General MacArthur, from June of 1950 to April of 1951, never slept a single night in Korea. He would fly over from Japan for high-level meetings, the like, but every night he flew back to Japan and stayed there. And that's the opposite of a mark of a leader. You don't lead. You lead from the front, and you do not expect people to do something that you're not willing to do yourself. And when we think of the work of the church, like I said before, we need to look in the mirror, and we will have more success if we are focused on what we can do and what we can do to help move this Cordova church in the right direction, hopefully and prayerfully for years and decades to come, that this church can stay in this community and be here and be an example for this neighborhood. Let's skip over in Nehemiah 5 to verse 14. Let's read verse 14 through 19 of Nehemiah 5. Moreover, from the time that I was appointed to be their governor in the land of Judah, from the 20th year even unto the 32nd year of Xerxes the king, that is 12 years, I and my brethren have not eaten the bread of the governor. But the former governors that had been before me were chargeable unto the people, and had taken of them bread and wine, beside 40 shekels of silver. Yea, even their servants bare rule over the people. But so did not I, because of the fear of God. Yea, also I was continued in the work of this wall. Neither bought we any land, and all my servants were gathered thither unto the work. Moreover, there were at my table 150 of the Jews and rulers, beside those that came unto us from among the heathen that are about us. Now that which was prepared for me daily was 1 ox and 6 choice sheep. Also fowls were prepared for me, and once in 10 days store of all sorts of wine. Yet for all this required not I, the bondage was heavy upon us. Excuse me, I got distracted by the bell. Yet for all this required not I, the bread of the governor, because the bondage was heavy upon this people. Think upon me, my God, for good, according to all that I have done for this people. So Nehemiah he used some of his own monies to feed his brethren here. And through this, he showed himself to be selfless in many ways, that he had this work that he wanted to accomplish, and he not only used some of his own money to accomplish that, but also to help his brethren as well. So I think in our world right now, we have time that we can use to enrich ourselves, to work a little more, make a little more money, to do a lot of things. I think we need to give great thought great thought to, can we add a little more time, a little more work, a little more effort to what we're doing in regards to the church. And I don't think I'm going to get on my other lesson, but I'll just read this last verse of Nehemiah. It's sort of like this one we just read in chapter 4, but Nehemiah 13:31. It's my favorite verse, and I always go to this one. I told Sally this is what I'd like. This is what I would like on my stone if I ever pass away before the end of the world. Nehemiah 13:31. Remember me, oh my God, for good. So I hope that we will try to live and work in a way that we will be remembered by God for good. I hope that we won't get discouraged in doing so. We got our vacation Bible school coming up, so let's be thinking about who we can bring. I really, hopefully, maybe we'll be able to get some visitors in here. I think it would be great. I'm pretty excited about the lesson. Sally showed me the lessons, so I think it'll be a good study. Also, I think we have about 1 minute. So I appreciate your time and your patience. Greg will have the sermon here for worship, so I'm excited about it. He's got a sport coat on. You see Greg with a sport coat. You know he's going to be preaching. So thank y'all.